Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 3D Hangout. You got myself, Noe Pedro Ruiz. I'm a designer here at Adafruit. Joining me every week is my brother Pedro. What's up, man?
What's going on, everybody? I'm Pedro Ruiz, the creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we come to share 3D printing projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
Oh yeah, this is the show where we combine 3D printing and DIY electronics to make inspirational projects for you folks. Yeah.
That's right. Every week we have a lovely assortment of segments. We start off with coupon code for this week.
Oh yeah, this week it's Coffee Pie.
That's right. Use Coffee Pie during checkout to get 10% off discount on any of the electronic boards or 3D printers that we offer in the shop.
Oh yeah.
Got amazing deals going on.
That's right.
Spend over $100, you get a free promo Proto that's automatically added to your cart, or free shipping for orders over $200. So we got the cheapest prices on all the printers. Get shipped for free in addition to the 10% off.
All right, so get on that, folks.
Take advantage of that.
Well, let's take a look at what's on the show this week. We got some segments for you. What are you prototyping?
That's right, prototyping. It's when we take a look at some of the projects that we're working on for a future episode.
Okay, we have a layer by layer segment.
That's right, it's when we take a look at some of the CAD techniques that we use to design the projects.
All right, we'll do a shop talk.
So when we take a look at some new goodies that we have in the shop and some new toys that we're playing with.
And then the Q&A, we'll end the show off with Q&A.
That's right, if you guys have any questions, leave them in any of the videos below and we will gather them up for a future episode.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the prototyping segment. Here we go.
All right, to start off with, you might have seen this a couple of weeks back, the 7-inch Raspberry Pi, the official 7-inch Raspberry Pi display put out by the Pi Foundation. A lot of people have come out with cool designs since then, some 3D printed ones. We even have one from Pi Ramoni in the store. It's an acrylic, very cool little stand for it. One of the things that a lot of people are missing, though, is that they continue to stack the Raspberry Pi and the driver board right on top of each other. It makes it kind of chunky. So you might have seen the approach that I have taken, which is to totally lay out everything nice and flat to make it a nice, thinner little package, made it portable so you don't have wires hanging out everywhere, and reoriented the Pi so you have access to all the ports on all the sides.
That's amazing.
And one of the other things that you can do too is reorient the screen also, so you can have it not have, when you have the dongle sticking out, it's not on the bottom, so it'll be easy enough to stand up all on its own.
Very cool.
We'll take a look at a more in-depth, closer look, including some of the CAD techniques and the way that little ingenious way that came up in mounting this onto the back of the display here.
Okay, folks, a full tutorial and design files will be available
next week.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that. And then we have another Raspberry Pi.
That's right. You folks might remember this. This is the 5-inch Kippah Raspberry Pi 2 portable sort of tablet thing. So last week on Ask Engineer, somebody asked, and actually prior to, people have been asking if we can update the design for the Kippah with touch support and the display with touch support. So that's what we did. That's what this little USB doohickey is sticking out for. That's the way it works. So we'll take a look at the CAD in just a second here, but I wanted to highlight the material that we used on this one. This is actually coffee PLA from Proto Pasta. So this is a high temperature PLA mixed with coffee grounds to make this very interesting coffee filament. So it does have a slight hint of coffee when it's printing, and it prints really well. It prints just like PLA, the same temperatures. It works with the heated or non-heated bed, and it handles overhangs really well. I have a couple of shots on my Instagram that shows a little bit of the retraction stuff. You get a little bit of string, but it's super easy to clean up. It's really strong and sturdy parts. So yeah, if you guys are looking for some interesting coffee filament, I guess check out the stuff from Proto Pasta. We do, of course, carry conductive filament from them, and this is just another sort of test to see how well this material works. I think it's pretty nice. So that's why the coupon code is Coffee Pie. So if you want to pick up the Raspberry Pi Kippah board or even this touch screen, we do have it available in the shop now. You can get 10% off that order.
Yes, definitely take advantage of that for these awesome Raspberry Pi projects.
All right, well, that's the Kippah. It's already, real quick, it's already on Thingiverse. You can download the files right now. There isn't too much of a set. It's actually the same assembly. It really is the same assembly, and we'll talk more about it, I guess, now, huh?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the CAD updates that you had to do.
Okay.
The new update to 123D Design, which is what you originally designed this in.
Yeah, so real quick, let's take a look. It's in 123D design, and just real quick, I wanted to share you guys. I could have updated it in 123, but I took this opportunity to use Fusion and show you guys why you might want to consider it. So there, you can export as a SAT and a couple other formats natively. It used to be a premium feature, but now, thankfully, it's a free feature, so you can just export all of your 123D design files. This is a really good case because there's so many parts. So when you import it in, you have to create a project, and then you can hit the upload button and then just choose the file that way, and it'll upload really quick. So with that, when it comes into Fusion 360, it comes in as sort of just a bunch of solids. So look at the side here. You see it's in one master folder, and there's just over 50 plus solids. So this is a good example why you want to use Fusion 360. You can really manage your parts. There's a lot of parts going on here. And I actually did a Periscope last week where it was just me, naming things and grouping them and just making sense of all the stuff. And it's really, really helpful to have layers and bins and things like that. So that's why I really like Fusion 360. So that's the part there. The next thing I want to show you is my approach to making cutouts. So before I would use solids to make these cutouts, and then if I had to make any tweaks, I would just pull the faces in and out. But now I'm really using sketches because you can come in here and make tweaks to the sketch. You can use the sketch dimension, tell you exactly how much you want, and then it'll just carry that through. So if you make any chamfers or you add any features, that sketch will carry on through all that stuff because you have a parametric timeline. Another thing I want to highlight is the approach I'm using for mounting the screen. You can see these little clips and stuff. So what I did, instead of using those clips, I'm using just a lip. A lot like how you would mount like a speaker, you would use lips because there's no area for mounting. There's no mounting tabs and stuff. So there it is there. So it's just a lip, and it actually optimizes your tool path, and it makes it less likely to break. And then for the cutouts, I used I projected a sketch from the solid that I was using to cut them out. And then instead of pulling the faces, because I did have to do a couple tweaks, I made it so that it's just a sketch that I cut through. Another thing I did was I removed those little spacers for the ports. I just made a nice opening. That way it's a lot lighter on the printer, and it's just a better, you save time, you save material.
You get a lot of frustration if your little tabs break off.
So there's no overhang and no need for supports. Another thing is there's a little hole there I added for the USB cable, so that's why you need a USB cable for touch support. So that's how that's working there. The next thing I want to show you was the SD card opening. So I have a little guard that keeps the SD card in place, but there's a big opening. So what I did is I created using the same sketch too, I was able to quickly create a sort of a cap cover that snaps right on top of that guard so that your SD card doesn't get lost inside the enclosure. So it's just a little quick third part. Really easy to make something like that if you're making Raspberry Pi stuff. So of course the design file is available to download and modify. It's in Fusion 360 and 123D, but I definitely encourage you guys to check out Fusion 360. If you're starting to get a lot of parts, you definitely want to use Fusion 360. Sorry about my voice.
Yeah, definitely. Imagine designing something inside of Photoshop without any layers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How frustrating that is, yeah.
It's madness, and it just helps you. Even if you're just using it for that, I think it's a really good thing. Okay, so that's the layer by layer on that one. Of course, it's already on Thingiverse. You guys can download it on the same file, and there's a great learning tutorial on how to. It's just like 2 extra things you have to do to add touch support if you have the touch Kippah version. Okay. Right. Should I go over the overhead and show this?
Yeah, so this week's project is the Wasp helmet from the new Marvel Comics new movie that's coming out. It's going to be Ant-Man and Wasp Woman, or I think it's called The Wasp is what they're naming it.
Sure. A little background on the project?
Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the CAD stuff for that. Oh yeah, so this is in collaboration with Philip Burgess and Erin St. Blaine. Oh, yeah. So she's doing the whole costume with wings and everything, and you could check out the blog to keep track of their updates to all of the progress. Yeah,
that's right. So she's working on all the analog crafty stuff, which is awesome. She's putting together the whole costume. You can see she's using an embroidery machine to do all the details and things. This thing is looking awesome. Look at Erin. She's gonna rock this costume. So cool. I can't wait to see the wings fully assembled. So here's a little bit of the wings. Definitely encourage you guys to check out the blog posts and all the series, the electronic Halloween series that Phil B's writing out. Wonderful, wonderful job. So I guess show me a little bit more of the helmet.
Yeah, so it's a 3-piece design that we use the Ultimaker and the Type A machines to print all the parts out, make it a little bit less of a print time, and we're joining all the pieces with our favorite crafting sticks to join all the pieces together. Yeah. And let's go ahead and jump into the layer by layer to see how I designed some of the aspects of this.
Last week we didn't have this.
Oh yeah, so here is the mesh for the eye covering. So we're gonna take a look at the CAD stuff right here, but very easy to look through. None of this was printed with supports actually. The entire helmet didn't need any supports on it.
That's great. What printer printed the mesh?
So if you check on my Instagram again, you could see always up to the minute, like update progress on any of the projects that we're working on. You could see how the Ultimaker is able to do very good bridging support between all of the holes that connect all of the bridging for the next ones.
It was very little minimal cleanup, so I guess let's just go ahead and jump into the layer by layer here. So let's check that out.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and pause here. So not a lot of reference material that we had to work with. At the end of Ant-Man, they had maybe one frame grab of sort of a teaser of what was going to happen in part 2, and this is what we used to base the entire helmet design off of. So taking that into Photoshop, we just outlined the helmet part, the outside, the eyes, and some of the ear and nose features, so we could sort of get a nice vector path so we could use inside of CAD to revolve around and extrude all the features. Okay. So you see here that I'm just using the eyeballs and the helmet. So if you pause here, using the drivers, thanks to Phil and Lamar a couple years ago, you might have known that they really pushed for getting the Microsoft Connect drivers.
Oh, the bounty?
The bounty for that, yeah.
To open up the drivers, okay.
So because of that, we were able to use very low cost Microsoft Connect scanners to make a 3D scan, a 1-to-1 scan of Aaron's head, so we can do a very good form-fitting finish for all of the modeling. Okay. So I took this inside of Fusion, hit play.
Phil B took the scan, correct?
Yes, so he did the scan of that.
In Connect 3D software?
Yeah,
it's a free software you guys want to check out. It's for Mac and Windows.
Yeah, so I think it's
like a couple thousand polygons.
5,000 polygons. They let you use it for free, and there's always
it wasn't even cleaned up, so it's a little not even manifold design. So you can still work around it. It's just a good reference because you get that 1-to-1 scale.
Yeah. So using that 1-to-1 scale reference, we were able to sort of make sure that all the parts fit perfectly on there. I took the parts that I used to trace, and I revolved that around, made sure that it fit nice and snug around the head with a couple of clearances, so it didn't sort of smash in there. Took a couple of, I drew like some lines around the mouth to the nose and used that to loft around. Okay. A couple of toruses to fill in the jawline, and then went in and added details like for the nose. Traced around her ears so I could add in the little cups in there, so we can fit some electronics and doodads inside of there. And then doing that, once I had all that figured out, went in and added the honeycomb little details and things like that, like the mohawk for the top. And after that, we went in there and cut it up into 3 pieces to sort of help on printing time, to avoid having to use so many support materials on any of those parts that are overhung.
How thick is it? It's kind of lightweight, isn't it?
This is really lightweight. So if you've seen the Daft Punk helmet that we designed last year, that was about 4 millimeters thick. Wow. So that was pretty heavy. This is about 2.2 millimeters thick. So it's not too thin to where it'll snap and break, but it's thin enough to where it's nice and comfortable to actually weight-wise. So you can, have that on your head for a couple hours.
I love the shelling too, because it really optimizes the material when you do a nice shell. And Fusion allows you to do that and add these like nice fillets and things.
Exactly, yeah. Okay. So for combining all the pieces, I imported the. We have a lot of parts, pieces in our library that we have for all of the pieces, like the mounting brackets for all of our boards. We also have pieces for mounting the craft sticks, so we can have all these together.
Yeah, these little slots.
Yeah, so you can see the slots here. And then
yeah,
I added some slots on the top because of the curvature of the head. I added, made those parts a little bit more thicker, so they're more like pockets.
Yeah,
so,
pockets, that's what I call them.
so that the skinny sticks can go in there nice and straight without having to worry about the curvature of the head.
Very cool.
So once I cut all those up, for doing the eye mesh that you were talking about, 123D was a little bit, Fusion 360 was a little sluggish in having to import all of the honeycomb shapes, as you can see here. So I imported it into 123D Design. I exported
Tinkercad.
Oh, I'm sorry, into Tinkercad. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I exported that into Tinkercad, and it is able to. It's a workhorse in terms of speed with booleans. And as you can see here, how many objects that we had to deal with to cut out the mesh area for that.
It's a great SVG parser as well.
So yeah, with in seconds, it's able to go ahead and boolean all that, which would have been very sluggish inside of 123D
How'd you cut
and Fusion.
Sure. Okay.
So once I had like framing around that, I exported another shape that would also cut out all of the little honeycomb patterns.
Yeah.
And the honeycomb pattern was just created inside of Illustrator with the pattern tool inside there.
Okay.
So a very cool way to build out, or a very effective way to boolean a lot of objects.
So you can ungroup all this and see all the parts that took to make the final piece.
Exactly.
Okay.
So once all that was complete, we went ahead and printed that, and you can see the project video, all the printing techniques that we
project
did.
video.
Yeah. So here, some people were asking some of the tools that we use for removing prints, and it's just a flat palette knife and a Sizzix little spatula that we use to remove all the printed parts. So we have the little removal process and the cleanup that we're using with the little Haku snips that you see in a little bit.
Yeah, because you get a little bit of retraction problems. It's easy to clean up though, so just kind of clean it up, give it a nice pass through with the snips and cut out all that little retraction goopers.
Yeah, so Philby and Aaron are going to apply some sanding techniques to this, add some bit more detail to it, and I think do some painting to seal up all of the seams that it's barely noticeable when you're close up. You'll see a little bit more better.
Okay.
But they're going to clean that up and do some more fine details on the whole mask.
Okay.
So definitely check out, it's this week's project. I think if you click on the next one there, you can see, I think it's that one.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, so definitely check out this week's project. You can see how we were using the fog machine to make everything look nice, foggy, and spooky.
Yeah, you put some NeoPixel LEDs in there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're using the trinket and 2 NeoPixel sticks to do the lighting effects on there, and the code for that is just the standard rainbow code, the strand test.
Okay, very cool. All right, tutorial and guides in the STL files.
Yep, you can get the STL files now, and as we were saying last week, we're working with Taylor from Autodesk, who's going to help us do make it more parametric, so it's able to scale just in certain areas. We'll have like little slides, so you can adjust all the areas inside the helmet.
All
so
right.
definitely stay tuned for that one.
Okay. Well, that's been our layer by layer and prototyping segment sort of cobbled together. It's kind of nice. Next up, we'll take a look at Shop Talk. We do have a Halloween contest that we're going to chat about a little bit here. So let's cue that up here. Halloween props contest.
Still ongoing. We have 135 entries.
Instructables. So Instructables is hosting this one, and we're sponsoring the prizes. 135 entries. You got 27 days left, so you have plenty of time to get on it. It's October 15th, so you need to get on this pretty quick. But there's so many entries right now, and it's really cool to see everything. And even if you're not going to enter, it's a good sort of place to get inspiration, because all of these aren't just entries, they're full tutorials from folks like you.
Yeah, if you click on any of these thumbnails, you'll see this full step-by-step instructions to build each one of these projects.
Yeah, so many cool projects coming out, folks. And again, just some of the prizes. Grand prize, you get a printer, a 3D printer, the PrinterBot Simple Metal, our favorite small foreign printer. You get Lady Ada's Electronics Toolkit. Cameras involved. There's so many chances to win too, so you guys got to get on this.
Definitely
and check out the site. I have it linked below so that you guys can see all the details on how to enter and win the contest. And if you would like to pick up some stuff for your Halloween costume, I would get on it now because it's October 15th.
That's
Got
right.
a couple weeks left maybe, what is it, 1 leaf left?
Yeah, so we got
Oh,
good
boy.
shipping prices if you don't want to spend an arm and a leg for the overnighting over some emergency parts. Definitely get on that now. Use discount code COFFEEPIE. You'll get 10% off discount on any of the electronic boards,
That's right.
filament, printers, and of course the same deals apply. Any order over $100, you get the free Primer Proto, and orders over $200 get free shipping.
All right, well, that's the Halloween contest. The next segment we have is a little bit of a fun one here. I think it's this one, right? The unboxing.
Oh yeah, so during Maker Faire, we checked out the booth for M3D. You might have seen the interview that we did with Dr. Michael Armani. If you haven't checked that out,
Be sure
definitely
to
take
do
a
so, yeah.
look. Yeah, so they sent us over a test unit of their M3D micro printer. As you can see here, the box is pretty tiny, and inside that box was an even smaller box.
Okay.
Very compact little printer. The only parts that you need that come with it are the power supply and a USB cable.
That's awesome. And it also came with a spool of tiny, cute little filament, PLA filament. So they make their own little filament things. This is really nice. It has like a code on it, so you can insert it into the software.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about that here. So let's keep going with the box. So it's packaged really well. It's really easy to put together because it's already assembled for you, and it's packaged real nice. Just got a couple pieces of tape. It's so small. I mean, it fits inside the Ultimaker too, which is awesome.
Yeah, so the only thing you got to do is remove the little pieces of tape and the little, what are they called, little guards for the little clips that hold the nozzle in place during shipping.
Sure, the printer head.
Yeah, and just taking a look at the 3D printed nozzles here, it's really indicative of what the print quality is going to be.
Sure.
And they looked fabulous off of that, just seeing the small little parts that they used to package this. So we were very excited about that when we first saw that. So next up was, let's see here, just removing the rest of that. And there's no end stops of this, which is really cool. If you take a look at the interview, they talks about how they're using a feedback mechanism to figure out where the placement of the bed is and how to get all of your leveling right.
Okay. We're also looking at just how small everything is. It really is the micro 3D printer. It's got really, really small timing belts, small rods. Everything about it is just micro.
The
It's awesome.
cutest little micro stepper inside there, the way that how tiny the little belts are, and the rods for moving the nozzle up and down. So adorable.
It's actually printing right there.
Yeah.
Do you want to show that next?
Keep going that.
Okay. Next part, we'll take a look at actually using it. So that's just sort of the unboxing of it. Here we are taking a look at it.
Yes, they have a 4-corner leveling technique, which is really good. It's able to store all of the info inside there.
Okay.
You can see the application that we're using here on the Mac.
So they have official software, and there's also some third-party software written by a developer out in Sweden.
Yeah.
Thomas Franzen, who we'll take a look at now. If you guys have the micro 3D printer, I would definitely encourage you to check out the GitHub page here from Thomas Franzen. Again, he's from Sweden, and he developed this sort of all by himself. Tell me a little bit about this, how you found it and what it does.
Yeah, so going through the support forums, a lot of people were complaining about, on the Mac side of things, having to install Mono to run the printer software that they include. So this guy took it upon himself to develop his own native Mac app, and it runs fantastic. You can check out the GitHub. The last commit was about 4 days ago. And he's, if you go back over to the video, you
Sure.
can see all the work that he's put into it makes this a very fantastic printer. So all the bed leveling techniques or bed leveling tools that you would see are all there.
How does it work? You just
Hold on.
You
Yeah.
just
You
next-
just plug it in, it figures out your COM port connections, and it connects automatically, nice and fast.
Okay.
It does the 4-corner
sort of a native
leveling.
Mac app, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And here we are looking at the UI for this. Again, he did a fantastic job of having everything that you're going to need, like a G-code viewer of when it's printing, what layer you're on. Unpause that. You can see here that you have access to all of your tools, like calibrating your bed, doing the backlash,
Even had a nice
calibration,
icon.
your tools. Yeah, he actually did a nice icon that makes it look very legit. So inside here you can see you have your calibrating, your bed finder, your backlash, everything is all nicely laid out. You even have access to a console, so you can send it G-code commands inside there. And like I was saying, the G-code or the previewer, when you're printing, it show you what layer you're on. Very
intuitive.
Yeah, you did a freaking fantastic job on this.
Okay.
Here we have some a time lapse of some of the projects that we've been testing out on there. This is the gamepad that you might have seen. And then one of the cool things here is that it does very well in printing in the air, yeah, 90-degree air prints.
So overhangs, it's incredibly well.
Mm-hmm. And here we have a shot of showing just how tiny this little guy is, and you're able to move this around in your hand while it's printing. Phil B actually came up with some interesting points that if you're printing something like with a 90-degree angle, you're able to put it on its side.
That's right.
So it can print without any supports.
Wow.
So very cool that you're able to do that with a teeny tiny little printer.
Sure. Are there any plans to make it portable?
So it runs off of 5 volts, and after taking a look at the power brick, Philby was able to just quickly calculate it's about like maybe 600 watts. So yeah, we're going to do some more tests on that to make sure that that's indeed what the power, the current that you're going to need to run it off a battery. But yeah,
so it looks like it's a removable build plate. It comes with a build tack right on this little pref board, and underneath that, you have a lot of room in there. What's that about?
Yeah, so this is a space for their spool to fit inside of. So they have an alternate feeding mechanism in there, so you can sort of feed the filament from inside there, and it'll go up the cord into the nozzle. But in that's just enough space to put a Raspberry Pi with a battery inside there, and Octopi runs pretty perfect on there.
Wow.
So the way to run Octopi, if you jump over back to the web browser there.
Oh, sure. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so again, this is written actually from a different developer who wrote a plugin for Octopi, and you were testing that out. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Is it ready?
So this is 3D FIO, and it's very easy to install with Octopi's plugin manager.
Okay.
All you do is plug in the URL, and it'll install beautifully.
That's awesome.
And the last commit on this was about 4 days ago as well.
Yeah, so some people think that it doesn't run off the Raspberry Pi, but you can.
You definitely can.
Okay.
Just a couple little bit of bugs that are still left in there, but once it's ready for prime time, this is going to be an excellent little teeny tiny desktop printer. I'm saying, emphasizing desktop because it fits right on your desktop, right along your computer.
Too.
Yeah.
It's very quiet. Some folks are saying that you can print with ABS because of its small bed.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts. Yeah, there's a lot of parts that are out there that have these little clips on there that you're able to enclose the entire area in here to keep to maintain a high temperature inside there.
Oh.
So even though it doesn't have the heated bed, you can get away with printing small ABS parts on this.
Okay.
So yeah, if we jump back over to that, yeah.
So now we're going to talk about print quality. So you printed a couple parts here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look here.
I think there's more to that video.
Yeah, you have it cut there.
Oh, yeah, here's just the inside of what the extruder looks like. And again, if you want to take a look at some of the specifications that Michael talks about during our interview at Maker Faire, definitely check that out. A lot of very cool little design techniques and engineering that went into designing this teeny tiny little super cute extruder. So cute that Phil B was saying it was giving him cavities.
Okay.
So let's take a look at the print quality that we got out of this, which we were so surprised with how good it's able to do. So this is the leveling for the Cloud Jewelry project. And one of the things that surprised us is, yes, the tolerance on these are pretty good. Especially like you were seeing with that video before, the overhangs that we're able to get on, especially on these parts right here, the top and bottom little flooring for the slide switch and the USB port.
It doesn't look like there's any cleanup too, so there's really good retraction here. And really this is just testing tolerances and dimensional accuracy. So this is spot on with all of our other printers.
Oh yeah.
Very minimal striations on the side there. There's no Z shifting using this piece of software, the MicroPrint software from Thomas Franzen. So all this was printed using that software.
Yep.
Okay.
So some people were saying that they were having Z shifting issues. None of that. We did see that when we first started this. It came with an outdated firmware, but
Sure.
once we used the PC to update the firmware on this and used MicroPrint to do all of the printing, this came out very good. You didn't see any Z shifting on this, and again, the retraction on this is pretty good. It's like a 2mm retraction. It's printing at 42 millimeters a second.
Now
And
the MicroPrint, it basically takes G-code file. It doesn't slice it. Can you tell me about what you used to slice it and how you got the profile for that slicer?
Yeah, so the MicroPrint, the GitHub has a INO file for Cura.
Okay.
And so you're able to import that, get all of the settings you need. Even has like screenshots of what each setting is, if you just want to type that in manually yourself. And yeah, the leveling, after you get all your leveling right, it looks phenomenal for all your leveling. Close up of that, yeah. It's a very cool, and yeah, pretty happy so far on the parts that we're able to get out of this thing.
Sure.
There is more than a handful of projects. All of our jewelry projects fit on here, like the horns will fit on here.
Even massive projects that are parts like the Adafruit chess set, that whole piece, all of those pieces will print on
All of the chess set
printer.
will, yeah. And things like long parts like the Raspberry Pi eyeglasses, because it's all in pieces, all snapped together very beautifully. So yeah, you're able to print ABS, PLA, and the next test that we're going to do is seeing if we can print with NinjaFlex. Michael was saying that it does extrude, and we'll just lower down the speed and see if we're able to print some of the horns for Halloween.
Okay, cool. Well, that was the Micro 3D printer. If you guys have it, be sure to check out some of the links that we have linked below for getting some better prints out of it using MicroPrint, again from Thomas Franzen.
Look how tiny this
developed
little
the
guy
software.
is.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, cool. So that was our Shop Talk segment. Yeah, let's take a look now at the Q&A segment. Is there anything else you want to say about the printer, Pedro, before I move on?
That's it.
All right, this is where we answer your YouTube questions. We're going to start off here. Once I queue it up here, give me a second. There we go. Looks like we'll just jump into that one. All right, so the first question is from Dennis Miller asking, I have a FlashForge Creator Pro running Sailfish firmware and I don't know how to turn on the LED strips. I see you figured it out. Maybe you can give me some tips to try. Yeah, so our main issues with it is that the LEDs were flickering and things, and we talked in long length about making sure that the voltage is set right to 115 volts. So be sure to check that if you haven't already. And also you can just sort of do a Google search. There's a lot of Google groups and things, and even on their support forum. Maybe have a faulty LED strip. There doesn't seem to be an option on the printer itself to turn on or turn off the LED strips, so it should just work.
Yeah, definitely check that. The video that you actually commented on shows you how to get underneath it, get the screws out, and make sure that you check on the motherboard to see where the LEDs are going into that. Maybe that got a little bit loose.
Sure.
And
so check the wiring too. Okay. So get
and
in
of
the
course,
back
check the voltage. Make sure that it's 155.
I mean, that's number one. That's
115.
Really.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dennis, for the question. Next one. This one's from Matt Coleman, asking about dual extrusion on the Flash Creator Pro. If I'm only using one extruder, will the other one leak for this particular printer? Of course. Yeah. So since if you're doing a single print on a dual extruder, head, it's only going to heat up what you tell it to. So just tell it to heat up one extruder, and the other one will not leak. Yep. Especially if you don't have any filament loaded into it. But if you are doing a dual extruder, and you're trying to avoid leaks on your dual extruded print, you definitely want to use an ooze shield, or even what is it called, a pillar, an ooze pillar. And you can check out, I'll have it linked below. Simplify 3D is the slicing software we recommend for doing dual extrusion, and they have some really good tools and a nice YouTube video that walks you through their dual extrusion wizard and how to manage dual parts, or multiple parts rather.
Yep, definitely
So
check
yeah,
out their
check
YouTube
that out,
channel
Matt.
if you haven't already.
Yeah.
They always have a ton of very good instruction videos.
Minor leakage here. Okay. Thank you for the question, Matt. Next one. This one's from Supermoto Zach. Is there any way Adafruit can make it possible to buy this project's 3D printed stuff? I'd really like to make this, but I can't afford the 3D printer. Yeah, so I always recommend checking out with your local makerspace, or if you're sort of out of you're more rural, I would check out 3dhubs.com. They're the infamous directory of 3D printers. So you can send your STLs to get a print for some monies, but we really highly recommend saving up to get a 3D printer. They're getting more and more affordable. You got printers like the Micro 3D now that are under $500, so you can get some really good prints out of these low-cost machines.
Yeah,
So that's
just
a good one.
save up, because after a couple of parts that you order, it'll pay for itself after a while, obviously.
Okay, well, thanks for the question, Supermoto.
Excuse me.
All right. Next question is from Brandon Thurman on the Super Game Pi project. Hey, I realize I'm a little late to the party, but I'm trying to build this project, and right now I'm setting up all the software, and I have gotten stuck on the SSH part of the setup. How do I find the IP address for the system? Is there any way to back out of Emulation Station without a keyboard attached? And if the keyboard is attached to the Wi-Fi dongle and unattached, can someone please help me out with this? Yeah, definitely want to check out. Actually, check out the Pocket PiGRRL guide. There's a section in there called Initial Software, and it'll walk you through how to sort of add your Wi-Fi credentials to the WP supplicant file. And you definitely want to sort of set up everything before you install Emulation Station. And the next one is, how do I get the IP address? You can always type in ifconfig. All that's actually in that section too. But yeah, if you have any other, if you want to get like a really quick response, the best way to do that is to check out the Adafruit forums. You have a dedicated support team on there 24/7. They'll answer you within the hour. So I always recommend checking out them if you have any technical questions. But I'll have that linked below if you're still looking for that. Hopefully you got it set up already.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's going to be it for the Q&A. That has been the Q&A. If you guys want us to answer your questions, of course, just leave them in the videos, and we'll gather them up for the week.
I want to remind you again, coupon code for this week is Coffee Pie.
Coffee Pie.
Gets you 10% off on any order except gift certificates and software, and expires at 11:59 p.m. tonight, so definitely take advantage of that. With Halloween coming up, you don't want to have to overnight any emergency parts. Works on any of the electronic boards that we have in the shop, or of course filament, 3D printers, and any other maker paraphernalia you might need for project.
Okay. Again, we don't take any VC. We don't have any loans. We're
No.
sponsored completely from you guys, so
Yeah,
buy something
definitely.
once in a while.
Yeah, and definitely leave us comments on any updates you'd like the updated Touch
this is
Pi.
all user-driven. So just
Yeah,
the
the
request.
Touch Pi request was just
Last
comments
week.
that we saw on Ask an Engineer.
Yeah, we're always there, so let us know, and show and tell as well.
A couple links for you guys
That's
to
right.
check us out on.
A lot of Halloween projects out. Really liking Becky's project, the Mystic Hood. Check that one if you haven't already. It's on the Adafruit Learning System and many other ones. We got everything for all skills, all ages, so be sure to check that out. Of course, every Thursday is 3D Thursday. We share a lot of customer projects and the like, so
That's
check
right.
that out.
Every hour there's a new blog post, so definitely check that out.
We're doing Periscopes and stuff as well, so be sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram and Thingiverse. Our Twitter handles are all there and linked below, so be sure to get on that one. Starting off the week, the lineage of shows starts off with wearable electronics with Becky Stern, so you get a lot of cool wearable projects, tips and techniques, and you can win stuff by asking questions, so be sure to tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Later in that evening on the Wednesday is our show and tell with Lamar and Phil. It starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
That's right.
After that is Ask an Engineer. You get a full hour of Lamar and Phil. You get Raspberry Pi, Arduino, open source, new products, a full hour of Lamar and Phil. So be sure to tune in. We're always there as well, tuning in the chat. So that's pretty much it for the show, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, be sure to keep on making.
See you next week, guys.
See you guys next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.